Good morning, family. You are tuned into the Better Show on 88.7 FM. Happy Thursday. You're listening to Lisa Martin and
Kimberly Bradford Brown, and we are back with
yes,
the
yes,
world famous
the world famous
Eric Taylor,
Y'all stop it.
Priority
Y'all stop
Mill.
it. Good
doctor.
morning. Good morning, Better Show family. Thank y'all so much for having me back. Let's get it, y'all.
Yes, last week you gave us so much information. We just had to have you back today just to continue our conversation about men's health since we were celebrating the month of June, Men's Health Month. So thank you so much for coming back and joining us and talking to our family this morning. We really appreciate your time.
Anytime. Thank you all again for having me back. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share this message on men's health during Men's Health Month.
So, do married men really live longer than single men? Just asking. Look,
Okay. So
says the single woman.
There are two sides to that coin, sis. So I am a married man. Me and my wife are coming up on 24 years of marriage here in August.
Awesome.
Big 25 next year. And I will say, the science says, and I can speak to some of this, that men that are married, and I wrote some of this down because I was intrigued when I saw it myself. It says here, let me just find my little cheat sheet here. Hold tight, y'all.
That's okay.
All right. Yes, men live longer in marriage because they typically have a better diet. They have a wife or a spouse that cares about what they feed you, so they feed you better. You typically drink less alcohol because a lot of men say their wife nag them. She's right in doing that. That nagging alone reduces the amount of alcohol you're going to drink. Men are happier just having a female partner that they can have a conversation with, which helps with depression. And then again, the sex life also brings in some benefits as well that have with longevity. Now, that's what the science says, and I will attest and agree to that. However, when you marry wrong, men that marry wrong, that ain't true. I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna leave that where it is. I ain't gonna even comment anymore. But if you marry wrong, men, that does not apply to you.
Because obviously there's some stress there, right?
Yes, indeed.
Which can cause hypertension.
Yes.
You just need to exercise more.
Yes. Yes. You might drink excessively. You might smoke excessively. You might not rest well. Yes. So y'all know there's some humor there, but there's some reality there as well.
And you eat your troubles away, right?
Look, all they just need to exercise more. That's all.
Oh my gosh. So I think you kind of alluded to my next question, which is you've already kind of said it. What can men do to stay healthy, to fight disease? You mentioned exercise, you mentioned not marry wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Please pick right.
Pick right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not right, but right. Right.
There you go. Well, maybe right and right. Get it
right
both.
And right.
Get both if you can.
What are some of the other things, if you could speak to that men can do to just stay healthy and fight off some of the disease? I know Kimberly asked a really good question. Is that the goal, to get off of medication? I think it is. If you are, doing what you should do, but I think you should keep the medication if you're not quite there yet. And of course, follow doctor's orders, of course, but
definitely.
What else can men do?
So I like to simplify when I'm telling men, things that they can do. And the key is exercise, 30 minutes, 5 days a week. And most of us have a smartphone, and your phone counts your steps. If you can get 10,000 steps in a day, that breaks down to 5 miles, whether you walk it at one time, or if you have a job that you're on your feet a lot, like construction, you're out in the field, you're on highways and railroads and things of that nature where you do a lot of walking, getting 5 miles or 10,000 steps a day is part of it. Drinking half of your body weight in fluids, particularly water and clear see-through beverages, is another way. Stay hydrated. Limiting your smoking, limiting your alcohol. And then watching what you eat, eating well-balanced meals, eating more fruits and vegetables and less of the fried red meats and those processed meats like bologna, sausage, bacon, all the red meats. And again, I'm preaching to the choir because that's part of me there too, because I love me some meat, but eating smaller portions. And what I always tell men is nothing bigger than your fists on your plate Because if you don't have a scale and you don't want to weigh it, which most people don't,
Mhm.
use your fist as a barometer. Now, unless you got some Incredible Hulk type fist, your fist is not that big. And nothing larger than your fist, no seconds, and it shouldn't touch on the plate. And try not to eat late at night and lay down. And ladies, sometimes you hold the key to a lot of that as well, especially if you're serving your man. You putting that plate together for him. So, hey, give him what you think he needs. More of the fruits and vegetables, smaller portions of the meat. And again, just being active and with your lifestyle and seeing your doctor annually or as often as needed based on whatever conditions they're managing. Those are some things that you can do. And then just try to prevent some of this unintentional stuff that men do. We do a lot of stupid stuff, man. I saw a guy the other day on a nice Harley, beautiful bike. And I'm a speed demon myself. I thought about two-wheeling, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to end up in the hospital or anything like that. But this guy was on a beautiful bike, no helmet, barely had on a shirt, looked like a tank top or a wife beater, had on some I don't know if they were flip-flop, but it wasn't shoes, nothing, no kind of protective gear whatsoever.
Mhm.
And all I can think about is, all it's going to take is somebody to cut him off or him to hit a pothole or a curb, and he immediately becomes an organ donor.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not worth it. So the unintentional stuff is other things that men can do. A lot of it's self-induced just because of some of the stupid stuff that we men tend to do from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so good. Yeah, just stupid stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Be smart about the choices that you.
Yes.
That's right. We spent, Eric, the whole month of May talking about mental health.
Okay.
And how important is mental health and spiritual health to our physical health?
I'm a holistic type provider. I can give you all the prescriptions on the shelf. But if we haven't addressed your mental health and your spiritual guidance, whomever that is you might believe in, I'm a Christian, but again, whomever it is you believe in as a higher power, if you don't have a connection with that, along with having addressed your mental health, these medicines are only going to work for so long.
Right.
So it is very important for men because men are twice likely to die from suicide than women. A lot of men suffer in silence. Again, we're not vulnerable like women are. Women ain't nothing for y'all to get together, be snotting and crying and holding one another, patting one another back. Guys ain't finna do that. We looking at one another like, man, what's wrong with you, man? You weak. And the way we're raised in this country, man, hey, stop all that crying. Is you hurt?
Yep.
Or what was the thing you used to say? Is you hurt or are you injured? Something like that. So cry if you injured, but if you just hurt, man, you better suck that up. Let's go. So the way men are raised, you have to be macho. You cannot show vulnerability. It's almost taboo to cry and show that weakness. And that has hindered men in getting the help they need when they really need it. And there's a lot of guys out there suffering day in and day out. And, sometimes our spouses or our family members, they miss the signs. They don't see the signs that this guy's suffering. And then you wonder why you found him in the car with a gun in his hand and his brain on the ceiling.
Right.
Because he killed himself. That things like that happen. But it's very important for men to have an outlet where they can feel like they won't be judged, allow them to be fully transparent and vulnerable, to share their deepest, innermost thoughts and weaknesses, and just allow them to purge that from their system. But a lot of guys don't have that. And again, just the way the nature of the world is and masculinity is supposed to be, men don't know how to express that. And then we refuse to go see the doctor. Well, she just got a touch of the nerve. He just got a touch of the nerve. He'd be all right. Then we over there doing other things, using drugs, seeing the street pharmacists, smoking this, snorting that, drinking this, shooting that up to medicate and deal with the symptoms that are in our head that we refuse to get help for. In our community, not just men, though, men and women, we don't like to go get mental health or counseling. We think that is a weakness and that is not necessary.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
so very true.
Yeah. Like Kimberly said, been talking about the month of May, talking about mental health. And that's one of the things that was said over and over again is that we typically, just pray about it.
Historically,
Historically, we've all heard from our grandparents and our parents, oh, the Lord will make a way. And sometimes you
Mhm.
don't want to hear that, or you don't need to hear that. You
Yeah.
really need to
You need
address the
more.
root
Yep.
of what's
Mhm.
going on with you. And I think because of the strong man,
Yep.
I think it's even more prevalent for Black males to feel like, oh, I don't need, she can't tell me nothing. I don't, but it's very
Mhm.
true. I think men should address their mental health. If they're feeling some kind of way, just own up to it. It's not a show of weakness or vulnerability. It's like, I need this, I need the help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always been a believer in when you feed your physical self fresh food, fresh greens, fresh produce, or whatever,
Mhm.
you should also feed your spiritual man.
Amen to
Uh,
Right.
that.
fresh word, fresh connection, fresh
Yes.
meditation, or
Affirmations,
whatever, affirmation,
mhm.
positivity. Those things are the things that help you restore. And on this show, we've always talked about unforgiveness and things that
All right.
poison us,
Mhm.
things
Yes.
that hold us back, that bound us and create cancers and stuff. If you don't release that and let some of that stuff go, those past hurts, those past
Mm.
things, that can destroy your physical, your spiritual, and your mental health.
You
Yes.
are
So
so right.
yeah, it's
So
just
right on that.
holistically, you have to feed yourself spiritually and mentally and physically
Mhm.
positive. So
That's right.
Yes. That's the perfect plan of care. But
yes,
unfortunately, we missed that piece right there. And that's
miss
why
it.
a lot of people suffer and you end up with these unpleasant outcomes or them
Mhm.
leaving a legacy that they didn't want to leave behind.
Right.
So
Mhm.
Right.
yeah.
Right. And we need to be our brother's keeper when we recognize those types of things in the people that we care about, speak the truth in love and say, hey, I'm noticing that you're having blah blah blah, and help each other,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm with you.
make each
I'm
other
with you.
better. Yeah.
I'm with you there, sis.
I know historically, our community, African American community and the Latino community, there's a huge disparity in healthcare. How have you seen that manifested in our communities?
Well, again, I like to say that I'm woke because I see a lot of things. I probably could be an activist. I know if I was born years ago back in history, y'all would have read about this brother in the history book because I would have tore up some stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing that I see from a disparity standpoint is just look at some of our communities.
Mhm.
We have a liquor store, we got a pawn shop, and we got a fast food place, and then we got a church. And then we probably got a dialysis clinic in the community. But none of the other things that you would think make life more well-rounded, where people can go get fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, natural produce, things of that nature. That's one disparity from a community standpoint, the way they design our communities. That's one
Yes.
disparity.
Yes.
Then you factor in our communities, if there happens to be a medical clinic, a lot of times they don't staff it with culturally sensitive people that understand the people that live in the community. You
That's
got a
good.
predominantly black, you got a community that's 90% black, and everybody else is there to represent that 10%, but everybody at the clinic is somebody else.
Yep. Yep.
We go up there and see, I ain't coming back here, man. First of all, they talking to me crazy.
Right.
Then I don't know what they saying half the time. And then
Yep.
I don't feel like they listen to me.
Right.
So then we don't go. And that right there creates a barrier just from perception, what you see. And then if you are, strong enough to push through all of that and get in there, then here comes the judgment. Some of the questions that they ask, you feel like they're probing or prying into your private life. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it's necessary for us to help have a better understanding of your whole self so we can give you a good plan that might work for you. But some people get rubbed the wrong way when they get asked some of these intimate questions that require a lot of details and things of that nature. And then you feel like they're judging you. And sometimes it is prejudgment, but that, and then just the way medicine itself works, because some medicines work better in people of color than they do in others and vice versa. And then having someone that's culturally competent and sensitive to that to be able to care for you and your unique healthcare needs is not always easy to find. And I would say this, if you find a doctor that you can talk to, that you feel like cares about you and listens to you, then that doctor, male, female, whomever it is worth their weight in gold. And you should stay with them as long as they're in practice. So those are the disparities that we know exist. And again, prejudicial care exists in this country. We don't like to talk about it, but it exists. there are some things that happen in healthcare that sometimes have me scratching my head. I'm like, two guys come into the emergency room, both with the same presenting conditions, but one is white, one is black. And then the time that it takes for them to get the same care doesn't make sense. You know, white guys immediately taken to the back, all this is done, and the black guy sits in the ER, almost dies in the waiting room with the same symptoms. And it's like, how can this be? And then they start playing with the documentation and all that other stuff. So that's another conversation we can have. But there are some prejudicial situations in medicine where it's I'm trying to be, political. Well, I'm trying to keep it good for this show, but I'm searching here. Just know that it exists. And if you feel like someone is not treating you fair based on what you're there for, and you have every right to advocate for what you think you need, and then let them follow the process to get you the things you think you need.
That was going to be my follow-up question, is if someone feels like that and feels like they're being mistreated, or what should they do?
So I have patients, I call them Googleologists. They Google everything. They come in with Dr. Google on the hand. Hey, doc, look here. I've seen here on Dr. Google where it said so and so and so and so. And I don't have a problem with that, because not everything on Google is wrong and not everything is factually correct.
That's correct.
So, but it does start the conversation. It opens the dialogue, because if a patient has taken enough time to Google it, then we need to talk about it. So I use that as an opportunity to give them the correct information, or to point out what's right and wrong about that Google search, and then educate them on a level to where they will always remember that whatever that question was that we talked about. But having access to Google can help you advocate better for what you think you need. If you present to the emergency room, or you present to your primary care doctor and you got swelling in your ankle, just Google swelling in the ankle. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come up. And you're going to read that over. When you show up to the doctor, that's going to help you ask those questions that hopefully you get a good answer and feedback from, to help you better understand what's going on with your health and your body. So that's how I say advocate for yourself. Make sure you have good grounds that you're advocating from. You just can't get mad and say, well, I don't like Vicodin. I like Tylenol 3s. We don't want to hear that. That ain't going to work. That's not going to work. You got to make sure you have a valid something that is based on why you're here, and you have some evidence that we can then start a dialogue and hopefully get to the bottom of that and get you a plan of care that works for you.
That's awesome.
Are there any special healthcare concerns for African American or Latino men that we want to bring out?
Well, as minorities in this country, and that's what's interesting, y'all, because I look at the vital statistics and I see how much population we represent. It has always puzzled me, and I know I'm not the only one. How is it we only represent 13 point whatever percent of the population, depending on if it's raining outside or the sun is shining? It could be 0.2 or 0.5, who knows? Right. But how is it that we represent that small percentage of the population, but we're at the top of the list for everything?
Everything. So
who's extrapolating these numbers and analyzing this data?
Everything.
I don't see that in clinical practice all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I will
say the numbers don't jive, huh?
Yeah, there's some truth to a lot of it, but it ain't always what the numbers say. So when I think about what we most suffer from, is always high blood pressure, it's always diabetes, colon cancer, obesity-related conditions, and again, just lack of access to quality health care, and then non-compliance with our diet, lifestyle, or medication regimen if we get it. So give you a quick example here. Patient comes in, headache, feel like your head about to burst. Check that blood pressure, 170 over 100. Sir, you have high blood pressure. We're going to give you this, write your prescription, pick this up. We'll see you back in the office in a week. Do you know most patients will take that medicine because they know they need it, because they have an acute headache, and they'll leave the office, won't even go pick that medicine up. Okay? And then whatever we gave them there at the ER to take with them, like a 2 or 3 day supply, they're only going to take that. And once they take that, in their mind, the headache's gone, so the blood pressure's gone. And they don't understand the blood pressure is still there and needs to be managed. Go pick up your medicine. Then you see them back in the stroke unit. They had a stroke. So it's like, a lot of it is education, lack of understanding, lack of access, and then mistrust of the healthcare system. So
mistrust. Yeah.
yeah.
I know we had gone through this thing, and I think Venus Williams was one of the athletes that brought this out as far as women were concerned, where doctors weren't listening to
Oh yeah.
African American women. They thought that our pain thresholds and that kind of thing were higher than other communities. I can understand that thought process sometimes because we some strong women.
Yes,
but
you are.
do you see that kind of thing go on in the male community?
Yeah. Well, so just to piggyback on what you said, sis, years ago, medicine actually taught residents that African Americans had a higher pain threshold. That was actually taught in medical school.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a book called Medical Apartheid. Medical Apartheid. It is on Audible as well. That book, if you listen to it, if you're a page turner and you like to read, it's a pretty thick book, but it's filled with evidence how medicine became what it was on the backs of Black people in this country, especially in the study of obstetrics and gynecology. They did some studies and some things on women, on our sisters, our ancestors, that some of them should be burned at a stake for what they did and under the guise of advancing medicine. They would do radical hysterectomies on these women and not give them any anesthesia.
What?
Yes. I mean, you got to look at the book. I mean, you got to read the book.
Wow.
When you read it, you'll see like, because they thought we had a higher pain threshold, or they would give them the minimum dose of anesthesia, not enough to completely put them out, and perform surgery on these ladies.
Wow.
I had to stop reading. I had to read it over time because it had my blood boiling. It woke up some of my DNA that was not pleasant. And I was like, ooh. And I'm thinking, I do this for a living, but I would never do that to someone.
Right.
But medicine, again, has an evil past to a certain extent, especially when it comes to people of color. And because of that, we know those that are well-read and or hear in passing these things, it further feeds that mistrust or distrust of the system. And that's why we don't want to come see anybody, because we don't believe that they're doing right by us.
Yeah, I was about to say, if someone reads that book, they're never going to go.
I know. I'm like, look, that wasn't the plan here. But
which kind of begs the question, some people say, I don't have to go to the doctor. I'm healthy. What do you say to that?
Okay. For most of us, up until about age 50, if you are in good health, I mean, at least if you check your blood pressure, you've had blood work done from time to time. I used to have patients, what they would do is they would go donate blood because, they check your blood when you donate blood. They check your cholesterol and all that stuff, and they check your blood pressure. And in their mind, that was a doctor visit. It's a good cause because you are donating blood that can be used to save lives. And in their mind, I'm getting these labs. That's all the doctor doing anyway, giving me labs. So that was my doctor visit.
And you get money.
And you get and money in a t-shirt and snacks afterwards.
In some cases, you get paid.
So up until about age 50, if you are relatively healthy, and again, I use that term very loosely, healthy, because what you say healthy and what I say healthy for me may be totally polar opposites. But if you don't have any major issues and you do the right thing, eat right, exercise and all that, you probably can get by seeing the doctor every other year and not seeing them seriously. I say that very cautiously because somebody gonna hear that, like, see, that doctor said that you ain't got to go to the doctor till you 50. That is not what I said. I want to make sure it's very clear. Honestly, when you become an adult, you should see your doctor annually. Case closed, until you're no longer here.
Yes.
But if you're one of those that have a very busy life and you are relatively healthy and you don't think you need to go, you might be able to skip a year in between visits as long as you're doing the right thing and not see them on a regular basis. But honestly, let's be real, myself included, ain't none of us doing that. Go see your doctor annually and be done with that.
And be done with it. Drop the mic, right?
There it is.
I see my doctor annually, and I see my dentist twice a year. So look, I'm setting the bar here, friends and family. Let's get it together here, family.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Wow. This has been, an eye-opener, chock full of comedy a little bit, but but very serious.
But truth.
Yes.
Truth, and I appreciate
Truth,
truth.
truth
Yes.
spoken in love. We could go on and on about men's health. I'm just so kind of enamored with your company and what you do for not just Black men, but just men in
Men in
general.
general.
In
Mhm,
general.
mhm,
And
mhm.
just the concept and the way that you're approaching health, with those of us men, like Kimberly said, who will not step in,
Look,
who will not step into the
let's
office.
stop that
Yeah.
rumor right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, exactly. But I commend you. Thank you, Dr. Eric, for being on this show. This has
You're welcome.
been really, really good. How can someone who's listening, because as Kimberly say, we pride ourselves in being on the World Wide Web. How
Mhm.
can someone get a hold of you?
Well, I am a very busy man. And so I have a website. It's www.prioritymale.llc.com. They can go to the website. There is a number there. If you want to call the office, you're welcome to do that. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And I got a YouTube channel, but I don't do a lot with it. But I actually have taken a break from social media here to try to revamp the platform and see how I want to come back and refresh it. But you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, at Priority Mail or Priority Mail LLC. You'll see me. This is what I look like right here: black scrubs, the beard, bald head. And you'll probably see some videos that I've done. I do a lot of health education on those platforms. And so I'm always sharing information on a regular basis. And I've been doing that for about 3 to 4 years. So got quite a few followers on all those platforms. So you're welcome to follow me there. And you can message me as well. If you're in the Houston area, you'll need to go to the website and call the office and see if we have the ability to see more patients. But COVID has changed some things. I'm doing some things virtually, and I've had to scale some things back because people's finances have been challenged with COVID, and I totally understand that. And priorities have been shifted because of what's happening with some businesses, with some jobs, and health has been placed on the back burner. And it's easy for men to put health on the back burner because we don't want to go anyway.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah. That's an excuse right there.
yeah, so it's a very convenient excuse for men. But if you're really interested and you need to be seen, you can call the office and we can work that out. I'm trying to see if I don't remember the number because I don't call myself that much, but it's on the website. And I think the number is 832-356-9717. And the website is www.prioritymale.llc.com. That's PRYORITYMALELLC.com. And again, from the website, you can also catch me on the social media platforms as well. So pick your poison, whichever one you like. I have a catalog of information there that I've done for many years that you can go see some of the videos. And I'm not perfect, but I keep it real.
Mhm.
That's the truth. I can attest to that.
Yeah. So you know where I'm going with that. So don't judge a brother, but sometimes that's the only way to get the point across.
That's
In
right.
certain ways you have to deliver it because men get it. So, but this is my purpose and my passion. And I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know that if I've only helped one person,
Yes.
I've done my part.
Done your part. Yes.
I've done my part because I've been blessed beyond my wildest imaginations, and I don't take this for granted. I'm standing on the shoulders of ancestors that have gave the ultimate sacrifice
Yes.
for me to be here and benefit from the privileges that we take advantage of today. So I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
And then when I see the negative stereotype of men like me, my people, our people in this country, it sickens me to the point to where I do my part to try to, again, change that view of what they see with African-American men, because not all of us are locked up. Not all of us are drug addicts. Not all of us are baby fathers. A lot of us are productive citizens out here, providing for our families, protecting our families, taking care of what we need to take care, handling our business on our square, and lifting as we climb for those that are like-minded and want to go where we going. So
yeah.
Mhm.
And that's so good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So thank you again for being here.
All right.
Thank
Anytime.
you, family.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all.
We really appreciate the information. Thank you so much for being so real. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
You're
Lisa, I
more
think
than
we got
welcome.
another resident.
Oh yeah, we got a resident.
Okay.
He already told us at the beginning we're family now.
That's
so.
right.
Yeah, y'all
That's
family.
right.
Just call me anytime. I can find time to do this. We'll definitely make time to talk to you ladies and share this information with your Better Show followers and family members. I want to leave with one thing. Remember this. It's something I want you to really think about. It's easier to stay well than it is to get well. Hashtag Priority Mail.
That's good
Love
stuff.
that. Love that. And on that note, we will say thank you for listening, family. We really appreciate Dr. Eric for being here.
Much love,
Yep.
family.
Man,
Yeah.
just really take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
That's right.
You're listening to The Better Show with Lisa Martin
And Kimberly Bradford Brown. We love you, family, and we're
Love you,
out.
family. And we're out.
Peace.